All right, welcome everyone back to Is It Prophecy here on Israel National Radio, Arut Sheva, and the show is syndicated as Messiah Hour on YouTube. Go to YouTube and type in Messiah Hour with Ari Louis and subscribe to the YouTube channel and tell your friends and family to do the same thing. And I want to explain why. When I have more subscriptions and I have more people view the YouTube videos, it will come up higher in the YouTube search. And what that does is it will cause listeners to YouTube or to videos in general or to other radio shows when they're looking for them on YouTube to come find my show. We've gotten emails saying people did not hear of my show. They haven't heard of Arut Sheva, but they found my show on YouTube. They were looking for something else. They found out about it, and they were happy that it happened. They felt kind of lucky that it happened. They weren't looking for me. And they told me if I can get higher up in YouTube, that this would cause a chain reaction of more people to listen to me. So I want more people to subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's free to do. Tell your friends, tell your family to do so. Again, no cost to you. And this way, I'll get higher up on the YouTube traffic, and I'll get higher up on Google, and that will cause more people to listen to the program, and I get my message out to more people, so that is good for everyone. And again, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, email me, messiahour@gmail.com. Coming up right now is part 2 of my interview with Theodore Shobeat, the son of Walid Shoebat, the infamous former terrorist of the PLO. He has now converted to Christianity, talks about the radical element of Islam and the war with Christianity. Theodore has followed in his footsteps, and they both write articles on Shoebat.com. You can check out a lot of what they write, They write daily. Check out what the writings are, and listen to this interview coming up. Again, tell your friends to subscribe to the Messiah Hour YouTube channel. Go to YouTube, type in Messiah Hour with Ari Louis. Right now is part 2 of my interview with Theodore Shobeat. All right, and a very interesting story that you wrote about with your father about this new militia that basically what's going to happen, thousands of Christians are going to enlist to take up arms.
Yes.
Because I guess my understanding is since there's all these things going on where Christians are being murdered, kidnapped, etc., Christians kind of have to stand up for themselves, fight back. So, so tell us how they're going to organize and be able to do this.
Well, that you're talking about the group called the Nineveh Plains Project, and that was founded by a number of wealthy Assyrian people, Assyrian Christians. One of them being a guy by the name of David William Lazar, and he helped fund the whole project. And they began, they say, in around December of 2014. And their objective really is to protect churches from ISIS and other terrorist groups. And their other objective, and this is if they can get enough men, enough weapons to do this, is to retake villages that were invaded by ISIS. So you have these militias growing, and it's actually not the only militia. There's many of these militias growing, and I would say probably the most admirable one, or the most inspiring one, is one called the Lions of the Cherubim. The Lions of the Cherubim is in Syria, and in their village, in Syria there is this giant church. They say it's a very old monastery. And if I could just actually pull out the picture real quick.
Sure.
And on this church, they have a giant statue of Jesus Christ. And it's called, the name of the area that this church is in is called De'er Cherubim, the House of the Angels. And it's a holy monastery in Syria, and on top they have a giant statue of Jesus. Now, the giant statue of Jesus Christ that was put on top of the temple, put on top of the monastery, that was recently built, actually, I believe in 2013, if I'm not mistaken. And what happened was that the Russian government funded the construction of the statue on top of the monastery. Now, if you look at the photograph of the monastery, it's on a very high pinnacle. And it's a perfect place if you want to set up a garrison to fight in battle, because it would force your enemies literally you have to run up a hill to get into the monastery. You have multiple. So what happens is that you have these terrorists. They want to destroy the monastery. and they have taken over pretty much the entire area of the surrounding town and subjected it to Sharia, but they want to destroy the monastery. So they have tried, and what happened was that the Syrian government set up tanks around the pinnacle. So in case any terrorists try to blow it up, the tanks could take them out. But then you also have the militia, the Lions of the Cherubim. And the Lions of the Cherubim are in the monastery pretty much 24/7. They have rifles. And I saw a battle, in fact. There was one that was taken on YouTube. We posted it up on Shoebat.com. And there's this battle, and you can see these terrorists, and they're trying to get up the hill, and they have such difficulty getting anywhere near it. And it's been a very successful mission, and they till now they had not succeeded in taking the monastery and in taking that pinnacle. So you have multiple militias that have been established, and then you also have another militia that was established, I believe, in Syria called the Lions of the Canyon. And they're also kind of like the Nineveh Plains Project Protection Unit, where you have them protecting churches and protecting villages and all that. And they've actually have fought in multiple battles. In fact, the Lions of the Cherubim, in one battle, they managed to kill 65 jihadis in one battle.
Wow.
So it's pretty interesting what's happening.
Certainly is. And I know you're very busy. Last question we have for you.
Sure.
I live in Jerusalem, so I guess I hate to say it hits me more than other stories, but it does. It's true. Apparently, there's a story that you wrote with your father about the Prime Minister of Turkey is having talks about invading Jerusalem. I heard a rumor, but is that actually true?
It's true. When you look at what happened in Konya just a few days ago, the city of Konya, you had the Turkish Prime Minister Ahmet Davutoglu. It's all on video. Ahmet Davutoglu was in a major conference in his hometown of Konya, and there you had the leader of Hamas, Khalid Mashal, and Khalid Mashal was up there saying that Turkey is going to invade Jerusalem for the glory of Islam. And there you had Davutoglu applauding, completely praising and accepting what Khalid Mashal was saying in that speech. And which means that in the mind of Davutoglu, and this is really the utopian aspiration that has been in Turkey for a really long time, in the mind of Davutoglu and in the mind of people like Erdogan, they have this fantasy where they are going to invade Jerusalem. And it's not just a fantasy. It's something that they're really going to try to attempt in the future. I really believe this, because when Turkey had its very powerful and very large Ottoman Empire, they controlled Jerusalem, believe it or not. And when you had the Seljukian Turkish Empire, they also invaded Jerusalem. They controlled Jerusalem. So they have this utopia in their mind that they're going to control Jerusalem and they're going to establish this universal empire where their capital will be in Istanbul, but they will also control Jerusalem, which to them is this. They have to control Jerusalem because to them that is where the Prophet Muhammad went to in his Isra and Miraj. So I believe in the future keep your eyes on Turkey. Because militarily, Turkey is the most powerful Muslim country in the world, militarily. Very powerful. I believe it's the 8th or 9th, it's in the top 10 most powerful countries. If you look at the list of the most powerful nations militarily. And it has the military capabilities with its army, not its air force or its navy, but with its army, it could defeat the armies of England, it could defeat the armies of France. It's very, very organized. And it's not too long ago that they had their Ottoman Empire. And they want to revive that Ottoman Empire. They have that utopian vision within themselves. And so even you had a conference recently with Recep Tayyip Erdogan, the president of Turkey, and Recep Tayyip Erdogan did a major speech a few years ago And there was no representative of any European country in this conference except for a representative from Germany. Angela Merkel was in this conference. And in this conference, Erdogan said that by the year, I believe it was the year, I'm trying to remember, it was like the year 2020 or the year 2021, Turkey will be this powerful nation. And he said that that by the year 2070, I believe it was the year 2071, he said, 2071, he says Turkey will be at its pinnacle in power. And why did he choose the year 2071? Because it will be the year, the marked year anniversary of the great battle of Manzikert that happened in the year 1071. Why is that battle so significant? All Turks know about the Battle of Manzikert because that is the battle that eventually led to the Turks invading the majority of what is today called Turkey. See, many people don't know this, but it wasn't always called Turkey. At one point in time, it was called Byzantium. And Byzantium was considered to be a part of Greece, or Hellas, as Herodotus would have called it. Read the epistles of Paul. Anywhere in the New Testament where it talks about an area of what is today called Turkey, it gives it a Greek name. Why? Because the original inhabitants were Greeks. And eventually, the original inhabitants would become Christian Greeks. That is why in the 1900s, the Turks, when they controlled Turkey, they went into Smyrna and they butchered pretty much all of the Greek Christians. Why would they kill all the Greek Christians? Because those were the native Christians. So Smyrna, the Smyrnans were native Greek Christians. They've always been there. It's kind of like the Copts in Egypt. They've always been there. And the Muslims are acting like they've always had it. It's always been their land. It's rubbish. And after the Battle of Manzikert in 1071, in which you had the Sultan Alparslan defeat the Emperor of the Romans, Emperor Romanos Diogenes, that is, as soon as that battle took place, as soon as the victory was taken, that is when the Turks began to expand all throughout Turkey, and they reached all the way to the border of Constantinople. They tried to invade Constantinople. That is when the Crusades commenced. The Crusades commenced because they did not want the Muslims to take Constantinople. They did not want the Muslims to take the rest of Eastern Christendom. And so here is Erdogan, right in our own time, saying, oh, by the year 2071. In fact, in that same speech, in that same conference, Erdogan came out, and there's no pictures of this, by the way. There's only reports on it. But Erdogan came out in that conference completely dressed in white attire, in the white silky robes. Why? Well, the Turks said this themselves. Erdogan wants to emulate the Sultan Alparslan who defeated the Christians in Manzikert. Because in the Battle of Manzikert, in the final part of the battle, Alparslan dressed himself up in white silky robes, and he came before his army and he said, I come not to you as a general or as a sultan or as a king. I come to you as a fellow Ghazi. Ghazi meaning warrior of Islam. And whoever follows me will see paradise, but whoever does not follow me, he will see hellfire. Well, what does it mean by that? Well, Alparslan was making himself into a messiah figure, saying, hey, if you don't follow me, you're going to burn in hell. He was making himself he was trying to make himself like Jesus Christ. But now you have Erdogan saying, emulating this man and dressing up like him and saying, oh, don't forget, in the year 2071, marking the year of Battle of Manzikert in 1071. So there's most definitely that cultic utopian vision that is within Turkey, and it's not being done by just some cult. It's being done by the most powerful people in the Turkish government.
Wow. Again, everyone listening, you got to keep your eyes open. Don't ignore it. Don't turn away. It's not going to help the situation. My guest this afternoon is Theodore Shobeat, who is also the communications director of Rescue Christians. Could you give a quick plug for that? I think it's a great organization. I want people to know about it.
Yes. RescueChristians.org. This is our organization. We have a team in Pakistan where we actually have helped a great large number of slaves, Christian slaves, and also Christian girls who have been really made captives of Muslims and made into sex slaves, where they torture these women sexually. And I gave a pretty graphic illustration of this last time, so I won't torment you with that. But they they sexually torture these girls, in the most horrific ways imaginable. And recently, we actually rescued 2 girls, and one of them had a son, and her husband, they literally tied him with rope and forced him to watch, it was about 5 or 6 men take turns raping her. And so we ended up having to sneak this girl out of the area that she was captive in. Sneak this girl out. And we posted 2 articles on it. And so if anyone wants to partake in this mission, if anyone wants to get involved in an actual rescue mission, they can go to rescuechristians.org. That is rescuechristians.org, and give however much money they want, $1, $2, $5, $20, $50. Doesn't really matter. All the money directly goes straight to helping these Christians. None of the money goes to our pockets.
Again, it's an amazing organization. Anyone out there can help out any way. You should do so. You're helping save people's lives, literally. So be a part of that if you can. Theodore, we really appreciate the time. I know you're a very busy man. Thanks for being on. It's a prophecy on Ari Louis, and we look forward to the next interview. Again, thank you so much.
Thank you much. Thank you very much, sir. God bless.
God bless. Be well.
Bye-bye.
All right, that was part 2 of my interview with Theodore Shobeat. This is a prophecy on Israel National Radio on Route 7. The show is syndicated as Messiah Hour on YouTube. Go to YouTube, type in Messiah Hour with Ari Louis, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It is free to do so. Please tell your friends and family. Again, more people that subscribe to the channel and more people that view the channel will cause a chain reaction and cause my videos to be higher up in YouTube searches. That will draw audience that have not heard of this show, an audience that has not heard of Arut Sheva, or Israel National Radio, and that will cause more listeners to the program, which is good for everybody. Now, something I want to say at the final minute of this program, again, I'm trying to get better equipment. I'm trying to make the show from 1 hour a day to 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. I used to do the show 1 hour a week, and there was so much fan support, so much fan demand, I went to 1 hour a day. And now on Sunday through Friday, Baruch Hashem, 1 hour a day. I want to do 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. And again, I want to improve the conditioning of the equipment, improve the equipment in general. If you listen to the show right now, it's probably only in one headphone or one side of the computer, whatever your setup is, I'm not sure. And the reason for that is we don't have the best quality microphone that you deserve, the show deserves. I want to do the best show possible. I want to do a show that has the best equipment possible, at least within reason, I should say. And for that to happen, I'm going to need help from people just like you. This show thrives and survives due to people just like you, due to listeners just like yourself. So what I would like you to do is to give a small amount. It doesn't have to be anything that large. It could be $18 or $36 or $72, something high, or even a small amount of $1 or $2. That works as well, because I want to take the show to the next level. I want to be on 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, and I want to have great equipment. And for that to happen, I need funds. That's the way it goes. For me to buy better equipment, I need the money to do so. And if you guys are getting a benefit out of the show, you're getting some content, get something you like, it's something you enjoy, chip in, be a part of this process, not asking for that much. If everyone gives something small, then I'll be able to get better equipment. If you're listening to the show right now, it's probably, as I mentioned this before, coming out of one side of your earphones, or depending on yourself, I'm not sure exactly, but it's probably one side. That's because I don't have the best equipment that this show deserves or that you deserve, as I talked about. So I want to get better equipment, and I need funding from people just like yourself. A lot of shows are starting to adopt this format. The idea, hey, you're getting a benefit out of the show, give something back. I want to continue doing the show. I don't want to have to stop doing it because I don't have the funding to continue. And I've been using this microphone. It's a Sky microphone I got for 100 shekels for about 6 months. Not great audio. I want to improve on that. Again, I want to improve on the time. I want to do 3 hours a day. That allows me to get on more guests, cover more topics, give more information to you, to the listener, give more news to the listener. So to do that, I need help from my fans. I need help from people who listen to the show. And I have a PayPal set up already, Israel Sports Radio Yahoo. And if you're listening or you've heard that in the past, you might think, well, I thought his emails, Messiah Hour Reviews. The email messiahhour@gmail.com is for me to go over content. People like a show or don't like the show, or they want me to add something in the next episode. That's what that email is for. PayPal Israel Sports Radio is something I set up years ago. I wanted to maintain that PayPal account. It's already set up through the process of the system through the bank, so it's already there. Again, you can give a donation that way, IsraelSportsRadio@yahoo.com, through my PayPal account, and content questions or comments, that's MessiahHour@gmail.com. Content and questions, happy to take it at that email. And also, the subscribing to my YouTube channel, Messiah Hour, just type down the YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Tell friends about it, tell family about it, because that will cause this show to be higher ranked in Google and YouTube searches, which will cause more people to listen and new people to listen. And that will help me get my message out to more people. You guys will help be a part of that. And that's a great thing because we want more people to know what's going on. This is the only show that talks about the Messiah coming from a Jewish perspective. As far as I know. There's another one out there, I apologize, but as far as I know, this is the only one. Most shows that talk about the Messiah coming are from a Christian perspective in the United States. And there are a lot of shows like that. This is unique. It's the Jewish perspective. So if you want to support the show, you want the show to continue, send a donation. It could be, again, something small. It could be $1 or $2 or $18, $36, $70, something in that range, to IsraelSportsRadio@yahoo.com. PayPal, again, IsraelSportsRadio@yahoo.com. That's a PayPal account. My email is MessiahHour@gmail.com. And last thing I want to say before we conclude this episode of Is It Prophecy is JApp. It's a new application that has Jewish shirim and Jewish shows like my show. And you can go to JApp. The website is www.j-app.me. Go to that application, download my shows, check out what that app's all about. It's really, really great stuff. Shout out to William, who is the founder and creator of JApp, and he's been very kind to let me on that particular app and have people listen to the show. So I really appreciate that. Again, thank you everyone for listening to today's episode of Is It Prophecy here on Israel National Radio, Route 7. The show is syndicated as Messiah Hour on YouTube. Our guest this afternoon has been Theodore Shobeat. Thank you everyone for listening, and have a great day.